Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Aurora Stefrak, and here I am with Translucent Truth Yoga to deliver you the weekly intuitive energy updates. So, it's been a long while since I have been here and been present and even had the capacity to take all this information and channel it into something that's digestible for us, because I've just been in it. So, yeah, this is the beginning. This is the beginning again of doing the weekly intuitive energy updates. I had done them for a year straight, and then I had hit a wall in my life and just decided to cut everything. Actually, I got this knife here. Oh my god. I'm so silly. So I was like getting ready earlier for this, and Ryan bought me this knife for Christmas, and I love it, and it brings out my inner ninja. And I was like getting ready for the energy update, and it was sitting in the kitchen, and I saw it, and I was like laughing because it was like, oh, I gotta bring that on my update, because it was just like a message for like cutting cords, right? Like 2023 is all about cutting cords, right? And like cutting cords from any like toxicity, any negativity, anything that's keeping us in any lower vibration, right? So it was just like, it was just suitable, and it was just like, I thought it was funny. I wanted to show Ryan how my intuition works and how I'm just like in the kitchen getting ready, doing my thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, cutting cords 2023 7, because I'm gonna go into 7 and what it's all about. But yeah, anyway, that's my cheeky little joke, and you'll get lots of those if you come in here. So okay, so I actually do just want to start with this because it's important. I'm gonna be all over the place because I just haven't done one in so long. I just have so much to say, and I have to like decide which stream of information I want to come through first. But what I would like to just say here quickly before I get rolling is that these readings are timeless readings. And what that means is that you can use these readings at any time, just as like an oracle, as a guide to wherever you are in the present moment, okay? And so what I mean by that is that all the videos that I've already recorded and any ones that are to come, I create them in the moment based on the astrology that's happening and based on different energies and things that are happening in my life and other people's lives, and all the synchronicities and how it's all aligning. Just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, and so like I do that week to week just to give me content, really, actually, and to help us in that present moment. And so you can use these for anything. And so even as I haven't been creating them, I've actually been going back to my readings and listening to them. I'll just like click a random date and go to a random part in the video, and I just listen, and I'm like, okay, this is what I need to hear, because I do get in my shit. And when I was creating these before, I was actually listening to them throughout the week when I was creating them, and like they were just helping me like keep aligned and keep an understanding of like an objective understanding of everything that was going on, instead of getting so wrapped up in all the emotions of it, right? And so yeah, that's like the main message that I just want to put out here, is just that these are timeless readings. And so that means that you can come to these at any time and receive information from your higher self. And really, like, you can do that with everything and anything in the world. It's just like I've specifically created this space and this channel so that you know, like, you're connected to source, you're connected to your higher self, you're connected to 100% pure love and light. There's no bullshit, there's no gimmicks. It's translucent truth yoga for a reason, right? Okay, so let's get into it, guys. Okay, so holy shit fire. So yeah, I'll talk about that now real quick. I have nothing written about this, but I knew that I wanted to talk about it. Pluto retrograde. I don't have the dates and stuff because I didn't write it down, but I did want to mention it. There's not that much that I want to mention about 2022, other than the numerology of it, which I'm going to get into after I get into this year's numerology. But I did want to talk about, now I'm drawing a blank. Is it Pluto? Jupiter retrograde. Yeah, Jupiter retrograde. It just went direct back on Christmas Day, okay? And so I wanted to like create a whole video on this, but again, like I just didn't have the capacity. And so I just want to mention it because this is really, really important as to understanding a holistic perspective of kind of the energy that we're walking into and the energy that we have just come out of. And so Jupiter retrograde just happened. Jupiter is the planet that rules abundance, prosperity, wealth, health, and it was just retrograde for a couple of months. And during that time, it actually went from Aries back into Pisces and then got shot back into Aries when it went direct. And this is significant because it's right on the cusp of a sign, which means that it's like dancing between the two energies. Like it's not fully Piscean and it's not fully Aries. And it's like Aries and Pisces are like complete different energies. Like Aries is fire and like passion and like action and movement and masculine. And Pisces is the complete opposite. It's like spiritual oneness. Like we are all one, we are connected. It's like go within, Pratyahara, you know, that kind of vibe. And so our abundance was going between that, like of like, oh man, like being in the spiritual imaginative place and having this fiery action need and desire, but kind of being stuck, right? And so that had to do with our health, our wealth, our finances, all of that. And so we just kind of got pulled back like an arrow. Like when an arrow gets pulled back, the energy, the inertia that is pulled back is as far as it's going to get. Slung forward. And that's what's happening with that energy. And so that just happened right at the end of 2022. And that's really significant to understand because we're coming into a year 7. So numerologically, 2023 is a 7. And you get that by adding 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 3. Okay, so 2, 2, 3 is 7. And this gives you an energetic frequency, vibration, understanding as to what is happening in this year to come. Like what is the overlying theme energetically, numerologically? It's a 7. And so that's what I'm going to get into here and now. It's all about our spiritual connection. And so just mentioning that real quick to pull it back into the Jupiter retrograde gone direct here at the beginning of this year, because last year was a 6, and 6 is all about where's your focus? Is it on the spiritual or is it on the material or on the physical, right? And so it's like having to keep realigning your focus, right? So that's the energy that we're coming out of, and the energy we're coming into is like spiritual focus is our focus, like higher awareness, higher timelines, community, and love. That is where what is in our field now, not so much the lack, the scarcity, the separation mentality, right? And so I'm just using the numerology here to illustrate to you the parallels between Jupiter going retrograde at the end of last year between the Pisces and Aries cusp, and how that kind of mirrors the 7 and the 6 year that we just are, the 6 year that we just went through and the 7 year that we are about to go through. So yeah, I want to just touch base on that. So if you want to learn more about it, that's the Jupiter retrograde of 2022 that I was just talking about. And again, like you can just, there's so much information out there and I can only fit so much in here. So yeah, like look into it if that's something that interests you and you can use it as an advantage. The way that you can use this information to your advantage is by understanding the shadow aspects that it brings up inside of you, right? So where in your life is your lack and your scarcity mindset? Where do you feel you don't have a stable foundation? Things like that, right? And so it's like giving care and love and attention to those places that need it is actually what's gonna help you to grow you to where you need to be, instead of like, no, it's fine, I don't want to look at it, and then like it all crumbles because you didn't look at it. Okay, So let's get into it. So 7, we're getting into this numerology of 2023, which is a 7. So the 7 universal year, I just have keywords here that I have written. So we will be in an analytical energy, very faith-based energy, connected in with our intuition and our logic. Philanthropy, a lot of self-reflection, and spirituality. I have a note here that it says be aware of cynicism this year. And so like if you're wanting to like write, maybe journal some things out on like the topics to be aware of or the overlying themes of 2023, it would be like to keep your cynicism in check, to keep your pessimism in check, because when we're going to look at number 7 in the sense of like spirituality and connecting us back into source, into God, into our organic templates, it comes with a lot of pain and suffering being shed, actually. And so we're in this place of transition, death and rebirth, if you will, of old and new. And so connecting in with our higher self, with our spiritual self, is going to be the default. And well, it's going to be encouraged to be the default, because if you're gonna go into cynicism, if you're gonna go into pessimism, into the lower vibrations, into not serving yourself, into projecting, into blame, into fear, then you're gonna be living in hell. You're gonna be embodying those energetics and manifesting those experiences in your life until you choose different, right? And so like the cynicism, the level of cynicism that you're experiencing in your reality shouldn't be judged, but it should be understood. It's so that it's not controlling you anymore. And so you can be like, oh wow, like, you know, I had to realize doing my inner work that I was really hard on myself and really negative and pessimistic towards myself. And that created a lot of problems in my life, because then low self-worth creates a bunch of situations, a bunch of situations that don't serve you, but serve you to get you out of that energy, right? And so that's what I'm saying about this whole cynicism energy or this pessimism energy, is to really hone in on that anger, on that frustration, on that hate, and see in your life where you're not showing up so that you can feel supported. Because when you're feeling cynicism or pessimistic, you're not feeling supported, or you don't know how to support. And so really like this rise above energy is really going to be coming through this year, to help us to have these greater understandings, so that we don't have to keep stewing in all of our pain and suffering, and we can finally take that out breath and relax into our body and into our experience, right? Okay. Oh my God, funny I just said that, because the next thing I have here is that this is a vital time for a collective pause, right? And so I just talked about, you know, finally being able to breathe, right? And so I'm kind of seeing 2020 again, actually. That's really interesting. So 2023 is going to be like a higher octave of 2020, which means that 2020 was all about the third eye coming online, right? Of course, because that 7 would be the crown, right? So the 2020 was all about, you know, the vision coming. And from 2020 to 2022, we've kind of been stuck in this energy, like kind of in our head and up in the clouds, and like, whoa, like distorted and like confused and like, what the fuck is going on, man? And now we're getting a clear connection to source. Okay, and now we're going to be able to go, oh yeah, I know exactly what's going on. I know exactly where I'm going. I have the direction. I have the guidance. I know I have the resources. I have the will. I have everything that I need, and now it's just going to flow. That's kind of where we're going. But that's doing a lot of work to get there. It's not just going from a cynical person to deciding I'm not going to be cynical anymore. It's just really truly about actually getting to know yourself, right? and who you are as a person. Oh my gosh, I thought my video just stopped recording. Phew, it didn't. Okay, yeah, so yeah, and then I have connection to cosmic energy coming online, which I already talked about. Inward, quiet, slow. Inner existential questions, guys. Okay, so like when we connect to the cosmos, we connect to these higher awarenesses, these greater understandings, and these greater conceptions. And like, it's not, like the day-to-day grind that we're used to. It's like when we can connect to the cosmos, it's like, holy shit, we connect to infinite, right? And so that's what we're getting access to. When we're in our human experience, it's very limited, it's very constricting, it's very narrow, and that's what we've all been experiencing. And now we're opening up to this higher perspective. Our crown chakras are opening, and we're gaining this connection to this cosmic energy, which means like our guides and our beings are like really accessible, which means like, if you're not sure of who you are and you don't trust your intuition, this year is going to be really hard for you. And that's actually going to be the big lesson for you, is to learn to trust yourself and your intuition over what other people are saying to you. But yeah, so these inner existential crises or questions of asking like, holy shit, like, what are we doing here? What am I doing here? Like, kind of purpose work questions, right? That's what's going to be coming through. And again, like, painful. It's painful because this is where your purpose comes from. Your purpose comes from sitting in your pain, sitting in your suffering, grieving, allowing the feelings to be felt, to be understood, or not, but at least to just be released. And so that's why these existential questions are going to be arising within us, because, well, we've had 3 years now with this third eye getting blasted, and now we finally have access to higher understandings with these new perspectives. And so we're really malleable, is what I'm hearing. We're really malleable because none of us are really sure of our identity right now anyways. And so it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to trust my instincts, and I'm just going to trust my feelings, because I know that at least my body will tell me if I'm safe here or not in these relationships and in these friendships. And so I will listen to my body and my intuition and let that guide me in making my choices. If I go somewhere and it's a bad experience and I have bad feelings, I'm not going to keep doing that and going there. And it's not about avoiding these feelings either. It's about acknowledging that this is our internal guidance system that's telling us, yes, this is safe, no, this isn't safe. And it's trusting that and stopping listening to external forces that are telling you, no, what do you mean? You love it here. You love it here. Meanwhile, your inner world is like, I want to go home and cry in bed. Right? So it's like finding that inner voice, hearing the whispers of source, of spirit, of your guides. When you feel lost, when you feel confused, when you feel like you don't know where to go and have nobody to turn to. Look within. Look within. That's what your number 7 says. Look within. Okay, and then we have a full chakra recalibration and rebalancing. Again, this is because we're connecting to our higher selves, the cosmic energy. And so that's going to transform every layer on a multidimensional layer. And that's why as things are coming up, we're being asked to just let them come up, so that, and to not try to necessarily make sense of them, just to feel it and release it. And then the downloads, the understandings will come when they need to come. And then I have deep purging of previous toxins, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, which means karmic contracts are coming to completion. They're dissolving. Because once it's completed, it becomes whole, and then it's in balance, and then it's like back in homeostasis with the universe, The action that was taken has had its equal or opposite reaction take place. And then we have, actually, I want to go deeper into that, because I was just hearing all you guys out there be like, well, what does that mean? I want to know more. Like, you just said it so nonchalant. Spiritual contracts are coming to an end. What the fuck? And so what this can look like in your life is like having big fallouts with people that you thought were going to be in your life for a long time, but they've taught you great lessons of who you are and what your standards are and what you stand for, and your integrity and your truth and your authenticity, right? And so it will be painful to have these things come to an end, but it will also be liberating. And so within that context, it's good to understand that it doesn't necessarily mean that when things come to an end that physical experience or person will come to an end. It means that the energetics of that is coming to an end. And so if you're with somebody or at a job, or there's something, say, that you don't want to necessarily leave behind, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the patterns that are keeping you locked in these monotonous, mundane, draining experiences won't have the same power over you anymore, because maybe you started going to the gym and moving that energy in your body in a healthy way, or you started like a vocals class because you love to sing, or you started swimming, or I don't know, whatever. You started doing something different that moves that energy, that allows for you to be a new you, right? It's about getting that energy unstagnated from your body. Okay, and then deep dive into personal spiritual practices. So again, like what I just said about things that you are enjoying, like swimming or whatever I just said, that could be considered your personal spiritual practice as well, right? But also things like mantra or yoga or meditation, whatever it is, qigong, that get you into your meditative place, to your home frequency. That's what's going to be being asked of you this year really strongly. Or setting intentions towards personal development. Developing and trusting your intuitive voice. I already covered that. And encouraging others to trust their truth as well. So even getting into conversation or arguments with people, maybe it's not about being right or wrong anymore. Maybe it's just about being heard. And that's a higher spiritual awareness. Is it's like, well, maybe you're right and I'm right, because my feelings are valid and your feelings are valid. And we got to quit beating the dead horse and just acknowledge that we have different truths and different feelings, and that we have to learn to accommodate people and who they are, so that we can find balance in each other's truths, instead of constantly always being at battle with each other, because we have different truths, right? Okay, and then last thing I have is authentic and spiritual community and connections, okay? And that's because we're all doing this inner journey. It's like, it's cool because it's like we're doing this inner journey, but we're like doing this inner journey together. And so that's kind of like the unification of the individuals, the singularity. I don't actually know the words I'm trying to say, but hopefully you know what I mean, right? Individualization of the whole becoming one, but each of us having our own identity. It's like, I think that's Aquarian energy. It's like teamwork. It's like teamwork, right? It's like we need each of us to make it all run, and no one is more important than the other, but we all need to do exactly what we're here to do in order to make it all run. And again, this is like all part of our spiritual mission and path, and knowing who we are and understanding and doing this deep purge of all of our pain and suffering and things this year, is so that we can truly step in and embody our highest timelines, right? Okay. Okay, yeah, I will mention that real quick. So I just want to actually, no, it's gonna be too hard to explain. Never mind. I don't want to. I have so much to tell you guys. Okay, so we're gonna go into the last year's energy real quick. Now that I just gave you like a huge understanding of, and it was just 24, so whatever that means to you. Oh, 2 and 4 is 6. So we're going on the 6 here. Great. Okay, so 2022 was a 6 year. Okay, guys. So last year, I'm just gonna do a quick little recap so that And I wanted to touch base on this year so that you could understand where we're going and gain greater understanding of the chaos and the confusion and the hectic craziness of last year. Okay? So 2022 was a 6 year. It was a full-on recalibration of our ego and our identity. Our ego is also our inner child, also known as our shadow self. And so during this time, you may have had a lot of emotional outbursts and a lot of like regressed behavior, it may seem, but that's because your inner child was on the forefront saying, hey, I need love. Hey, I need to be heard. Hey, I need to be seen. And then it's like, hey, why aren't you loving me? Hey, why aren't you seeing me? Hey, why aren't you hearing me? And you didn't listen and you didn't see and you didn't. And so there was a huge, right at the end of the year, this huge inner child reclaiming that happened. My heart, like, oh my God, I don't even want to talk about it. It was so intense. Hey, it's 1:44 p.m. So there's this massive inner child reclaiming that happened because last year we were kind of playing out all of our really old, deep-rooted patterns, right? And unconsciously. And that's why 7, we're going from the unconscious in the 6 to the conscious in the 7 too, right? So it's recalibration of the ego and the identity, and then the inner child, a full-on inner child reclamation. And then 6 is all about like, where's your focus, right? Is it on the spiritual or is it on the material? Is it on service to self or is it on service to all? Okay, and if it's on service to self, then you'll run into a bunch of things that are going to stop you because it's like, nope, because that's only serving you. That's only serving you. That's only serving you. And until you come to the higher understanding that you have to be of service to all in order to receive, and that's where your true soul's heart's desires are, then you'll keep having lessons show up on your path until you get the message, right? And really, that's why God is so forgiving and God is so beautiful. God will let you do everything you need to experience it, to give you that aha moment, to see God, to taste God, to hold God, to feel God, right? Even if it's just a taste, you'll do so much in your power to get back to that. Okay, so then last year was all about breaking down our limiting patterns and beliefs around taking care of ourselves and the action or lack of action that we chose to take. So in 2022, that's kind of the breakdown of ourselves, and 2023 is going to be the build up, okay? Also last year there was like this energy of like, okay, we tried and 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 we failed and we tried and we failed and we tried and we failed and we tried and we tried and we tried and we failed. But in that trying and in that failing over and over and over again, it brought us to our deepest breaking point. It brought us to the point where we were so raw and then we didn't need anything outside of ourselves. We just needed to listen to the whisper because we were so broken and so hurt. And I'm holding tears back because I can feel you all and me. The hardest year I've ever been through. And we made it. And now all that we want is freedom, liberation, connection, community, love. That's what I want anyway. And I've worked so much pain and suffering out of my body, out of my psyche, out of my mind, and like self-inflicted, where we get stuck in these patterns and we don't know how to get out. And so it's so frustrating, especially having so many tools and so much capacity, but last year having none. Humbling for sure. But yeah, so again, we've all just been through that. We're all coming through the other side now. And next year, this is the build up. Last year was the breakdown. And of course, it's only January 3rd. Like, my goodness. It's still pretty fresh, you know? But that's why, guys, that's why it was so hard, is because it stripped us. It stripped us to our essence. What do you want? Who are you? Why are you here? What is your purpose? And again, these are all questions you're exploring next year. But the breakdown was what just happened, okay? And now we're coming into reintegrating these aspects into our highest timeline, right? Into being able to be of service, to fill our cups first and spread it to everyone else, right? And to help people that need help, and to be okay to ask for help. Things like this, okay? So again, like, this is why it's recalibration of the ego, is connection to the inner child. All of this stuff is because we just got it washed right out of us last year, and we didn't really have a choice. And it was really interesting because it didn't matter if you were doing your work or making sure you were perfect and in alignment and whatever all the time, because like, they were people that had trees fall on them, that were totally healthy and holy and full and in alignment and doing their soul's mission. They didn't plan that to happen and to have to, I guess, physically experience what I just kind of embodied for you emotionally, like whatever that breakdown is, right? Of like, holy fuck, are you serious? I thought we'd been through enough. That was kind of the vibe, right? And so this year coming is hope, guys. Like, hope. It's excitement for ourselves. It's trusting ourselves. It's knowing who we are. It's standing in our power. It's things like this. Okay? So that's the numerology. Here, just give me 1 second. Okay. I just had to blow my nose. Okay. So, now that's done. Okay, so next we're going to talk about, so there's just a couple more things I'm going to touch on. It's going to be that we're in Capricorn season right now. It's going to be the Cancer full moon that is coming here in a couple days. And then I'm going to talk about Mars and Mercury retrograde, because it's really important for us to understand these aspects, these shadow aspects, as we're moving through connecting to these light aspects of ourselves, because we'll get information of the light aspects of ourselves, but in order to integrate that, we have to recognize the opposite, or the shadow aspect, right? Okay, so first things first, we're going to focus on Capricorn season. So Capricorn season we are in right now, which actually that's why I wore this shirt, because it's a goat. And I was like, oh babe, like, I don't have any clean shirts, like, can I borrow a shirt? And he was like, yeah, like, here, go pick whatever one you want. And then this one had a goat on it, and I was like, perfect, because it's Capricorn season. So anyway, so Capricorn season goes from December 22nd to January 19th. And coming up after Capricorn season is Aquarius season. And I'm mentioning that because of the greater cycles that are going on right now, which is the precession of the equinox, which is the 26,000 year cycle around the greater central sun, which might sound like that to you, but don't worry. All I'm saying is that it's matching another greater cycle that's happening. So it's like a step in the new earth direction, is what I'm hearing. A step in the new earth direction, because like, we're embodying more of that Aquarian energy. Okay, so with this Capricorn energy, right? So Capricorn energy is teaching us responsibility. It's teaching us how to how important structure is and how important mundane daily tasks are in order for us to reach our goals long term. Now, I'm a Pisces, and that's like the opposite really of Capricorn. It's not, but like they're very opposite in nature. And as I've gotten older and matured, have learned to understand Capricorn, whereas before, like, they were just like too boring to me. Like, I didn't understand. I'm like, what do you mean you'd rather like make sure that you go to work? And this is like, whatever, like my early adolescence of like, what do you mean, like, you're not gonna come party and then go to work? It's like, you're gonna go make sure that you're well rested to go to work. Like, why don't you just like have a good time? Like, come on, and like that energy. But it's important to ground in and to be able to have the discipline to be able to take care of yourself, even something as simple as that, right? So Capricorn, it has a very ambitious energy, and it's focused on the mundane, routine, day-to-day tasks. We're being guided to celebrate each task as a win, especially the small ones. So this time now, because I just told you what last year was all about and you experienced it yourself, we're being asked to like give ourselves the small wins right now. So for example, brushing our teeth in the morning, making sure you're eating breakfast, making sure you're not buying food out 5 times a week. Whatever it is that your win is, make sure you're giving yourself credit for that, because we're feeling very low and down on ourselves and sensitive. And so when we can give ourselves those little boosts of positive reinforcement, it kind of like picks our soul up a little bit at a time, right? And again, that inner child kind of comes more alive and wants to come and play. Oh, funny that the next line is sense of responsibility and focus to achieve long-term goals. So like with this sense of responsibility, the reason that we're feeling this sense of responsibility is because we want to play. We want to play and we want to have fun while we play, instead of going to play all the time and not taking care of our responsibilities and everything falling apart. Whereas when we find the balance between taking care of our responsibilities and playing, then we're able to do both. And when we're playing, we really get to play and be present and be joyful and be in our bliss body. I also have here that Capricorn season coincides with the winter solstice. So it is a time to go within, to ask about what external action needs to take place, okay? So hard work, control, and determination. It's time to set your foundation for Aquarius season, encouraging us to embrace our eclectic differences that make us unique, okay? And so again, like Capricorn season here is preparing us for Aquarian season. And so Capricorn season is like, make sure you get your regimens in place, make sure you get your foundation in place, make sure you're taking care of your daily routines and rituals that are going to give you the foundation to be who you truly are and to be that difference in the world, which is that Aquarian energy coming through, the humanitarian energy of wanting to be of service to all, working as a team, but having your sense of individuality throughout all of it, right? And so in order to do that, you have to make sure you're grounded, or else you'll be pulled in directions of where your deficiencies are. And that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It just means that then you start playing and living from that space of deficiency. And that deficiency is then telling you, hey, I'm deficient. And you have to go and tend to that, right? Okay, I'm going to go into the retrogrades first, and then I'll polish it off with the moon energy. Okay, so we have Mars and Mercury retrograde. So I'm going to go into each of them individually, but I'll just be kind of quick on them because these have already passed for the most part. We're just ending in these coming weeks, and that's why I wanted to mention them, right? Okay, so Mars retrograde. Okay, guys, Mars retrograde goes from October 30th of 2022 to January 13th of 2023. So it's Mars retrogrades every 26 months for 2 to 2.5 months. Okay, and Mars embodies our drive and our ability to act, as well as the process of individualization, the gradual unfoldment of selfhood that only seeks to please itself. Okay, so again, I'm saying that to give you the understanding that Mars has the shadow energy of being selfish, of being all about me. But we also have a society where we overgive and people please. So it's almost like we have to learn to integrate that part of ourselves. And maybe you're the opposite. Maybe you have to learn to integrate less of that part of yourself, right? May erupt into ruthless action when sufficiently traumatized. Our survivalist comes out, and our anger and frustration lash out incongruent to situations. And so, if you, for the last 2 months or so, have really struggled with your anger, with your frustration, with your rage, with your emotional outbursts, it's like, I'm not saying it's blame it on Mars retrograde, but be aware Mars retrograde is influencing you to test you on these parts of yourself so that you can rein them in and understand them and know where they truly come from and why they're there. So we may be feeling slow, lethargic, unmotivated, irritable, angry. Notice how these take hold of you. Where do you need to take action in these times of lower vibrations? Slow down, be intentional, and stay focused on your basic needs to make it through this turmoil. Okay, so that's the little Mars retrograde. And that, again, we have till the 13th. So we have about 10 more days or so of Mars being in retrograde, and that's coming out of a 2 to 2.5 month cycle. So again, there'll be a window here for about a month or so where we're still kind of coming out of the energies, but they'll loosen up. So if your anger, frustration, rage, emotions get the best of you in the next 10 days, really remind yourself, why? Why? Where is this coming from? Calm down. What's wrong? Maybe you're hungry. Maybe you didn't sleep enough. Maybe you didn't eat enough. Like, breathe and take care of yourself is what you're being guided to do. Okay, so then for the Mercury retrograde, it's from December 29th to January 18th. So every 4 months, Mercury goes retrograde for about 22 days. So this is the first one of this year, and it's polishing off last year. So it embodies the way we think, speak, and write, as well as the way we bend the truth and sidestep responsibility. So interesting, because we're in Capricorn season and it's all about responsibility, and the Mercury is now in retrograde and it governs when we try to sidestep responsibility. And so isn't that interesting, is that there may be a real rude awakening for a lot of us in where we are or aren't taking responsibility in our lives. It looks at the manner of our mind, the way in which we learn, the speed at which we integrate new information, our power and persuasiveness, and our communication. This is a time to gain greater clarity on deeper aspects of ourselves. For example, keeping an eye on your negative self-talk or using humor as a mechanism to mask your pain. Time for slowing down and deep introspection of communication lines, inner and outer, right? So again, this is like how we are talking to ourselves and how we're talking to other people. And then how people are talking to us and how we're interpreting that, right? It's all about the communication lines for Mercury, right? And so, like, until January 18th, so with that, we have almost 2 weeks here, we'll be struggling with these energies, okay? So be aware of that. So not only with your anger and frustration for the next 10 days, also with your communication. And so, you know, that's where working with this Capricorn energy is really great, because you can really, like, be objective and take the proper steps in order to get the results that you need. It doesn't need to be all emotional and overwhelming for Capricorn. It's very logical and grounded and matter of fact. Okay, if I have to do that, I will go and do that. And that's the energy that we need to take on. Okay, and now last but not least, we're going into the Cancer full moon. Okay, guys. So this is on January 6th, 2023, which is in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it'll be Friday. So Cancer full moon. So first thing I have here is that our inner warrior and our inner lover are unifying within to bring a balance of clarity and action around protecting those that we love and what we love. Okay, so I will give actually a quick little rundown. I kind of forgot. So Cancer is a water sign. Water is all about our emotions. Cancer rules the home, okay? And so when we're in Cancer energy, it's like very home life energy. So anything that's going on in your home life is going to be highlighted this full moon. So on this Friday, it's like any structure, and again with this Capricorn energy, any structure that isn't serving anything, like, and even especially emotional, it's got to get talked about. It's got to get dealt with, and like we got to wrap it up, put it in the bag, and figure out what we're doing with it, right? That's the energy. Is like, hey, where are we taking action and where are we not? Like, I have no energy. Like, I just told you about what last year was all about for all of us. So of course none of us have the energy. So where are we going to put the little bit of energy that we have? Okay. And so in our home life, we're going to figure out what it is that we need to implement, regulate, and structure in order to create a flow. Where do we need to bring more love? Where do we need to bring more kindness? Where do we need to bring more compassion? How can we bring more teamwork together in these situations so that we can work together instead of all feeling like we're having to do it all on our own? Okay, and this is all happening so that when we go out into the world, we're strong and we're stable and we have a good foundation and we aren't getting pulled and swayed by all of the bullshit and the fuckery out there. And we can go home and we have a safe place to rest our head and call home, and to relax and to feel safe and to be loved and to have nourishing food, right? Things like this. So that is going to be really difficult for us to kind of work through all of that. And so it's going to be highlighted, but it's also going to be kind of like supported and easy in a way because of the Capricorn energy that's supporting us in creating the structure and taking the action steps in order to actually implement the feeling of home in our lives, right? Okay, so within our home dynamic, we are soft, sensitive, and vulnerable. But outside our home, our warrior selves will take no more shit. Good time to remind ourselves of what is truly important to us and what we truly care about. What is my motivation and why do I do what I do? Right? So again, this is coming back to home, your heart, like asking your motives. What are my motives? Why am I doing what I'm doing? This is all really important stuff right now, because if you're building a foundation for your future, for yourself, for your family, for humanity, for whatever, you have to have a solid foundation or else it will crumble and it won't sustain. So then this is coming back to your why. Why do you do what you do? What is your motivation? And it can get intense when you're trying to really truly see your motivation, because we don't always want to look there, but it's important because then we're not subconsciously sabotaging ourselves by manifesting things that aren't fully what we want and need. Okay, so due to Mars and Mercury retrograde, we will feel stuck, foggy, and confused. Our minds playing on repeat or hard for us to move forward. We may even feel like one step forward is 3 steps back. But this is meant to test your strength, courage, discipline, dedication, etc. to your truth, your integrity, and your authenticity. Testing and resolve of your roots, your home life, your family, and your family lineage. Okay, great. Okay, so like basically all this is happening so that you can really align with your truth, with your authenticity, and with your integrity, okay? And it's just testing you. It's testing you and your resolve. So how are you going to deal with this situation? How are you going to deal with this situation? What about this situation? It's like we're getting shot all of these tests so that we can see how deeply rooted in ourselves we are. Okay, so don't pressure yourself to make a decision right now. Be patient and wise at this time, okay? So because we have this retrograde Mars and retrograde Mercury, and then all this home life turmoil coming up right now, like, is not the time to make a decision. Now is the time to just sit, to meditate, to be still, and to listen, and then take the divinely guided action. Only take action when you hear the guidance. So honor your sensitivities at this time. Take things slow and listen to the wisdom of your ancestors and your heart. You are divinely guided. Perfect. All right. Awesome possum. So I'm just gonna pull a couple cards now and see what wants to come through. We're gonna start with the Soul's Journey deck here. I haven't actually played with any of these cards for a long while now. So now I'm just gonna pull some cards that just want to kind of come through. I've gone through all my notes. I've said enough. So yeah, I'm just gonna pull cards now for confirmation and validation to see what other messages kind of want to come through for this week. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go for this week, and then I'll do for this year. Okay, so let's go for this week. And for this year, and then for last year, I want to do too. Okay, so the general one is trust, reverse. So trust. Who are you trusting? What are you trusting? I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. Are you trusting your inner voice? Well, isn't that a perfect way to begin? Okay, so wait, what was this? This was this week? This week, this year, last year. Okay, so this week we have surrender. I can release my need to control. We have freedom reversed. I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. So freedom, not feeling free, guys. We're feeling stuck. We're feeling, well, like we need to control everything. So surrender and listen to where it is in your life that you don't feel free. And that's where you need to start taking the action. Indecision. I use my intuition in all aspects of my life, and being decisive. So being decisive about it. Where in my life do I need to surrender? Where in my life don't I feel free? And just knowing it and being decisive, knowing this is who I am, and I cannot sway from my knowing any longer. These very focus right on the bottom. This is the sacred destiny. I just want to see what else wants to come through as we're on a roll here for the week coming. Oh, purity. Yes, exactly. Purifying. So purifying, because again, it's like you don't actually know. You don't know. So, well, purify your knowing. What if you don't know, what do you know? Right? You got to go beyond that. Happiness, see? Reverse. So again, you're feeling stuck. You're feeling blocked. So what is that? What is blocking you there? Why are you feeling stuck and why are you feeling blocked? Because you have some healing that you need to do and you're not wanting to do it. So you have to surrender to that. Surrender to the fact that you have healing to do. But, know that it's going to liberate you and bring you into your freedom and happiness. And one more here to polish off the week. Taking risks, right? And I'm hearing taking calculated risks, right? Calculated risks. And I'm hearing the calculation is your intuition, which then seems oxymoronical. Trust and illumination. Trust what you are seeing. Trust what the light is trying to show you. Stop listening to the shadows and trust in the light finally. Trust in your light finally. I love that. Trust in your light finally. I'm going to write that. Okay, trust in your light finally. Perfect. Okay. Now we're going to go into the year ahead. We have worry. I am learning that worry doesn't change an outcome. We have forgiveness. I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love. And then we have judgment. Wow, guys. I understand that everyone has their own unique path and challenges. Well, isn't that just divine? It's 212 as well. Okay, so with worry here, I am learning that worry doesn't change an outcome. So again, here we are this year learning how to transmute our fear of the future into the present moment of trust and knowing that you are always exactly where you need to be. Look, adventures, look at it. Worry takes you on adventures that Look at drain. See, the water is falling out. This way, when it's upright, it's falling down. And this way, it's draining. It's leaking out of you. Worry leaks your energy. That's going to be a big reclaiming of yourself this year. And then we have forgiveness. I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love. With forgiveness. Like, are you kidding me? So forgiveness with forgiveness, can it get any more clear that 2023 is going to be all about forgiveness, about not letting our worries take us on any adventures that we don't need or want to go on? And then judgment. I understand that everyone has their own unique path and challenges. Power, that is where my power lies. My power lies in my judgments. Oh my God, this is so beautiful, because judgments are essential, okay? So there's these people that teach things like, oh, don't judge, it's not good to judge, oh, I haven't judged her, I don't judge. And it's like, well, how the fuck do you live your life then? Like, how do you know like what serves you and what doesn't serve you, and like what's good for you and what's not good for you? Like, to judge isn't a negative thing. To judge is to like take in information and have like an opinion for myself to know, is this good for me or is this not? Like, judgment isn't a bad thing, right? And so again, judgment is our power. I'm going to judge something and know whether or not it's going to serve me or not. It doesn't mean that that thing is being judged and it's negative or it's bad or I'm bad for judging it. It just means like it's the reality of the situation. I have to judge it and know, okay, like, am I going to go to the dentist tomorrow? Am I gonna go to work tomorrow? Am I going to do? Like, those are all judgments. It's just that we judge ourselves for having judgments, so then we don't even trust our judgments. And so that's where we're going to be taking our power back this year, is in trusting our judgments, and not judging people, but trusting our judgments. See? And then change reversed, right? So feeling this uncomfortability with even just the language that I'm choosing right now and integrating love back in. Okay, guys? So judgment, there's judgment in your power. Bring love into it and change your perspective. Bring it back to love. Have judgment. Trust your judgment, but not critical, unnecessary judgment. Okay? Make sure that it is connected to love. And then transformation on the bottom here. Perfect. Okay, guys, and let's polish it off now with the 2022 last year cards, okay, of what we're releasing. So perseverance. I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to, and it's reversed. So there it is again, saying, you know, like that, trying and 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 trying, and it's just not happening. So again, that's that confirmation for that. It's like persevere, persevere, persevere. What about like learning when to give the fuck up, yo? I'm saying, like, it's time to let go. I am not persevering this anymore. There's that judgment coming in, right? Like, okay, I need to make the judgment that I should not be persevering this anymore, because it is causing a detriment to me. Oh, there's the other cards. Okay, and then with perseverance, we have voyage. Interesting. So perseverance reversed with voyage. And so again, what did I just say? Like, maybe it's time to let go of that path. Maybe it's time to take a new journey, right? And so persevere. Where are you persevering? What journeys, what stories are you persevering? Are they serving you? Right? And again, like, that goes into the shadow aspect of like, are your old stories serving you? Are your thoughts serving you? Are your decisions serving you? These things, right? Things that you are so dedicated to, are they serving you? Is this a journey? Is this a voyage that you wish to still continue upon? And then we have change. I understand that nothing can grow or evolve without movement, right? Oh, cool. So we had change for this year coming, but it was reversed, right? So we have this change reversed, and that's for this year coming and last year. So again, last year we had a lot of change, and we were asking for it. We were like, give me change, give me change, give me change. Now it was like, well, that was like too much change and I don't even know who I am anymore or anything like that. And so this year coming, we're asking to slow down on that and use our judgment to decide, okay, what's going to come in and out of my field. Okay? And so change for last year goes with potential, and it's reversed. And so potential reverse again, not being able to see your potential or overachieving. It's either that you didn't think you were enough or that you were qualified enough for what it is that you were offering, right? And so again, changing in your perspective and understanding of your potential, understanding the truth of your potential, not like what is your highest potential, but like what is the potential that you can embody right now? Like, what do you have the capacity to embody right now? Okay, not like who do you want to be in 10 years from now, but like in this now moment, what can you change to reach your potential? Okay, and that was last year again. Oh, and then we have denial reverse. I acknowledge my fear, but I replace it with the insight of awareness. Okay, we'll get one right off the hop because I'm getting nothing. Enlightenment, y'all. Oh my God. Okay. So last year, we went down so many deep, dark rabbit holes of denial, of not taking care of our inner child, of all the ways that we could possibly imagine. And in that denial, in that running, in that not taking care of ourselves, we actually were enlightening ourselves. And so that's the cosmic joke of the whole thing, is that whenever you feel like you've wasted your time, or you shouldn't have done this, or you should have done that, really what you should be asking yourself is, what is my lesson here? Because when you're in denial, it's important to acknowledge your fear and to replace it with the insight of awareness and understanding. Awesome. And then just to polish it off, we have thriving reversed and wonders here. So keep on exploring your wonders. Keep on tapping into your childlike innocence and your creativity and your flow, and you will reach the top branches. I love it. Oh, I love that picture. It's so gorgeous. All right, awesome. Okay, I just want one more card from this deck just to polish it off. Thank you guys for listening, coming out to my first, hey, it was just an hour and 2 minutes and 22 seconds, which was 10222, which is 1222, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, let's get one more. Again, thank you guys if you guys made it this long, and I'm really excited to show up every week and to deliver these messages for you. So last but not least, we have regret. I know that I cannot change the past. Okay, guilt. I release any beliefs that no longer assist in my soul's growth. And grief. I understand that losing something is an opportunity to appreciate it. And last but not least, gratitude. I am thankful for this life and the opportunities that it presents. And so we have grief, guilt, regret, and gratitude. So remember to feel all of your lower emotions as guides, and to be grateful that you are always guided along your way. All right, guys. Happy healing. I look forward to sharing more with you guys for the rest of the year, and to showing up every single week and giving you guys the guidance as well as myself. So hasta la vista. I will see you next week. Bye.